Ladies and gentlemen, this is Institutions Online on your Pan-African television. Let's kick off this day's edition with the official webpage of Equatorial Guinea Ministers' Meeting of Transportation of the CEMAC. The meeting took place in Brazzaville, Gabon, under the chairmanship of the Delegate Minister of Gabon's Transportation, Emmanuel Jean Didier Billet, and was attended by the Vice President of Economic Community of Central African States, Rosario Mbasogo Kun. Countries like Equatorial Guinea, Cameroon, Chad, Congo, and the Central African Republic were all represented at the meeting by their different ministers of transportation and civil aviation. At the meeting held on November 17, ministers spoke of the importance that the head of state and government of the sub-region placed on having an efficient, safe, and orderly air transportation system. Equatorial Guinea again the audience of the Minister of Foreign Affairs with Spanish businessmen. The chairman of the International Relations Committee of the CEOE, Jesus Banegas, together with the director of the International Relations, Jos Garcia Morales, received at the headquarters of the CEOE the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperations, Agapito Mbamuki, who ended Thursday, November 29, his official visit to Spain. The minister attended a meeting with many businessmen and representatives of large and small companies and organizations. Mbamuki began his speech by expressing his thanks for the invitation by the CEOC and explaining the path of Equatorial Guinea since the first difficult days of independence up to its current development, driven by the policy pursued by the head of state, His Excellency Obiangema Basogo. Lastly, on Equatorial Guinea, the First Lady continues her humanitarian works. Samuel Mba Moro, son of the Equatorial Guinean subject, resident in Libreville, has benefited from the help of Constancia Mange, who will pay the cost to cure his disease. The boy, about 14 months old, touched a chord with the First Lady and honorary president of the support committee for the Equatorial Guinean child, Constancia Mange, when the fathers presented her with photos of his sick child in an audience on Thursday, November 29 at the African Palace of Bata. The sixth baby's father, following closely from Libreville, the humanitarian activities undertaken by Obiang Mange around the country, went to the country's embassy in the city, issued the documents which got into the hands of the First Lady, and she took over the case. Thanks to this effort, he received an amount of 31,900,000 francs, which will cover the cost of operations involving in the recovery of the health of the child Samuel. For more information on the ministers' meeting on the transportation of the CEMAC, the audience of the Ministers of Foreign Affairs with Spanish businessmen, the humanitarian help of the nation's First Lady, and many others on Equatorial Guinea, you can visit the country's official webpage. Let's move over to Nigeria's official webpage. President Jonathan commiserates with General Buhari. The country's head of state, His Excellency President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, commiserated with former head of state Major General Muhammadu Buhari on the death of his eldest daughter, Zulahatu, on November 29. In a condolence letter to General Buhari, President Jonathan prayed that God Almighty will comfort him and grant him and members of his family comfort from the pain of losing a beloved child who has been nurtured and raised to adulthood. President Jonathan, in the statement signed by the Special Advisor, Media and Publicity, Dr. Ruben Abati, on Friday, November 30, reported his heart goes out to his former head of state as he mourns his beloved child. Nigeria again, FEC approves contracts for transport, health, and others. The Federal Executive Council has approved contracts for projects in the areas of road constructions, rail transportations, river ports, health, national identities management, and other infrastructures. Special Advisor to the President, Dr. Ruben Abati, made the disclosure at a media briefing on the outcome of the weekly FEC meeting chaired by the President of the Republic at the State House, Abuja, on Wednesday, November 28. He also announced a council approval for the construction of a new 150-seat capacity banquet hall in the presidential villa at a cost of 2.2 billion naira. Apart from the contract for the infrastructure, Abati stated that the council also approves the award of contract for the conduct of fiscal allocations and statutory disbursement audit for 2007 to 2011, as well as oil and gas industry audit, noting that the approval was in conformity with Section 2 of the NATI Act of 2007. For more information on the President's condolence letter to General Buhari and the EFC approves contract and many others on Nigeria, follow up the country's official webpage. Let's go over to Ghana's official webpage, Nation, to establish trade centers in Lome next year. A trade center is set to be established in Lome by the year 2013 to facilitate annual exhibition of Ghana-made goods and to showcase the product to neighboring French-speaking African countries. According to Mr. John Maxwell Wanjo, the nation's ambassador to Togo, on November 30 at the Ghana Business Day and Investment Forum, the country's Chamber of Commerce, together with the Togo Chamber of Commerce and Industry, are expected to collaborate to establish permanent structures to establish a one-stop shop for Ghanaian products. This was organized as part of the ongoing 10th Togo International Fair held in the country's capital city. He observed that the fair was critical for regional integration, stressing that it provided the platform for entrepreneurs in the sub-region to showcase their products and services, as well as to encourage intra-community trade relations. The Ghana Day and Investment Forum is to exploit trade and investment opportunities between the two countries. Ghana again government to revamp railway and harbors. President John Dramani Mahama on November 30 gave the assurance that the government will spend a chunk of the Chinese Development Bank loan on the expansion of the country's railway network and harbor facilities. The head of state noted that it will include the construction and rehabilitation of railway lines, the expansion of facilities and the Tema and Takoradi harbors, and provision of new landing sites at Winneba and some other coastal towns in the country. President Mahama, who made the promises at Matkesim in the central region as part of a 3-day tour of the area, said the expansion program was aimed at decongesting the major roads by providing alternative means of transport and to create jobs for the people. President Mahama said the government will not engage in vain promises, but would rather beat what it can chew for the meantime until adequate funds are made available for more development projects. For more information on the Ghanaian establishment of Trade Center, the reconstruction of the nation's harbor and railway, visit the country's official webpage. Let's end this edition on Zambia's official webpage. Women's lobby NGOCC differs over First Lady's budget. The Zambian National Women's Lobby distanced itself from the non-governmental organization Coordinating Council's opposition of the 1.5 billion K Zambia's currency allocated to the office of the First Lady. Women's Lobby Chairman Beauty Katebe Firi reported that it is her organization's considered view that if NGOCC wanted to oppose the allocation in question, it would have done so at the stage when the yellow block of the budget was publicized. Mrs. Firi added that the non-governmental organization Coordinating Council could have lobbied Parliament not to approve the allocations. She says the mandate of the Zambian National Women's Lobby is to advocate for the empowerment of women, and that they are therefore delighted that the office of the First Lady has been funded in such a transparent manner, as this will foster good governance and accountabilities. Here we end this edition, ladies and gentlemen. Stay connected to the Pan-African televisions for more information. We keep in touch.